Match a Resident.
Hi everybody, this is Sarah from Match a Resident. We're here to talk about the 2019-2020 Match recap in this video. Let's get started. So who do we have on the call today? We have Zeph and Dr. Z. Can you please do a formal introduction?
Sure. So my name is Zeph. I've been working with Match Resident since 2008, and I have a background in public health and international human rights. And I've been working with multiple services through Match a Resident. So Match a Resident, residency experts, and residency statement as well.
Perfect. Let's hear from Dr. Z.
Hello, this is Dr. Zach Musa, and I am the founder and the CEO of the Match a Resident service. I have established a service as a medical student back in 2004, and now 2020, we're still running and offering these services to all students in the application part of the residency process.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing. So let's talk about the match season that just got concluded. How would you describe it? What are some of the highlights that you would like to share with the audience?
Well, 2019 and 2020 represented a really big year in the residency community. And one of the biggest changes that we saw was the complete MD-DO merger. So this is the first time in history that it has been under one single match. And so that created a lot of new opportunities for both MDs and DOs. And the merger has been happening for a few years. And 2020, like I said, was the first single match in history. So that's really big news in the community. It was also the largest match with over almost 45,000 match registrants. And we had a total of 37,256 positions available with about 40,000 active match applicants. So those are some of the big things that stuck out to us. Anything on your end, Dr. Z?
I mean, every year we face different challenges, right? But I think last year, as you mentioned, that we did see a difference in the number of positions and the dynamics of the residency. I mean, you're talking about DOs also had an increase too. So everyone, as if like everyone benefited from it. I think the challenges were the same, but I think some of the candidates, I think, had a lot more hope. Maybe that also contributed for them to try better. And I think overall was a very successful season.
Definitely.
Are there any other challenges that you would like to contribute to?
Well, in terms of being an IMG especially, there's always additional challenges and barriers that people have to overcome. Getting that ECFMG certification is a big part of becoming eligible for residency, and knowing exactly what programs are going to look at your application throughout the match process, depending on what you have completed. Some programs require the CS to be included in the application before they consider you for an interview. Sometimes you have to be fully ECFMG certified no matter what before they grant an interview. So that's, those are big challenges that people have to deal with each year. And, Match a Resident really helps with that by providing additional insight into the specific requirements for each program. And, if you're applying without other steps, like without a CK, you have to figure out exactly what the best approach for that is. Or if you're applying, if you've been a long time since graduation, which programs are going to consider you, or if you have gaps in clinical experience, how do you incorporate that into your personal statement and to really have a complete MyAris application that helps you stand out and still be a competitive applicant? Because, we know so many people have stories and, events in their life that maybe take them away from a medicine for a year or 2 or 3 or more, but their passion is still there. And, if they are qualified, we are here to help make their dreams possible.
Thank you for answering that question. Dr. Z, do you have anything to add in terms of how Match a Resident contributes to the IMGs when they're applying to residency?
Yeah, I think every candidate is aware of the process, but sometimes, missing one component in the process could actually negatively influence the application. So Master Resident, before providing the list, is we are, as Zeph knows, that we go through this customer service, trying to assist the members early on. But you notice that most of the pressure comes later on. That's because people wait. And I think, Zeph agrees with me, is that Master Resident, we can guide you, not only give you the list, we can guide you on how to start the process earlier, because you can detect mistakes early on in the application, either personal statement or fixing the personal recommendation letters or the application itself. Because as you guys know, the application, if it's certified, you cannot make changes to it. One little mistake can cost you a whole season. So for Metro Resident, one of the challenges, I think, is just to convince people to approach us early. I think this is one of the things that we're trying to do, and we try to do every year. Now, I think with social media nowadays, I hope this video gets to everyone that, hey, do not wait until last minute. Just start early, ask your questions, and prepare well. I mean, this is what I think that's the approach for a successful season.
Agreed. When we say starting early, how early should students approach Master Resident?
A lot of people will purchase access as soon as it opens for that season, which is in May. And we complete our annual database update between July and August each year. So, you know, for people to actually get access to the customized lists, you want to be starting at around June or July, I would say, at the latest. And in terms of the other application components, you really want to be getting ahead of the curve. So getting your LORs planned out, contacting your letter writers, having meetings with them, you know, helping them with the process, because they might be asking you to write the letter recommendation for them. Unfortunately, it's far more common than not. And really starting to think out your personal statement. How are you going to make it stand out? Are you going to seek professional help in terms of editing and really making sure that it helps you shine? And if you have red flags in your application, knowing how to deal with them. So, you know, really getting started right now. I mean, it's June, and there's no time like the present, and you really should not be waiting, especially for those documents that take a lot of time, like letters of recommendation, personal statements.
100%. I think the letters of recommendation, says, to add to Zeph's advice, is that the letter recommendation, many candidates, I think they wait until the last second, and therefore maybe that person, the preceptor, or the physician who is being asked, is just have a document saved on their computer, and all of a sudden the next day you have a recommendation letter. This is how not how it should be. The recommendation letter is very well thought. There's a thoughtful process to come up with a recommendation letter, and that requires the candidate to address the importance of the letter recommendation with the preceptor or the physician in terms of what you really want to see in the letter. It's not just asking for it. And I think Zeph wrote a whole blog about this, the importance of how to ask the letter recommendation, because that's a document you really can't produce the last second. Maybe the personal statement, you can get away with coming up with a personal statement last week before the application, which I don't recommend, but the letter recommendations do take a while, so you should be started now.
Okay, now is the time to start. Let's ask about the most popular specialties.
For IMGs, there's two main ways that we like to look at the top IMG friendly specialties. And one is the ratio of IMGs compared to US medical graduates, and just the sheer number of IMGs. So in terms of the ratio of IMGs, pathology was the top IMG friendly specialty with 48.7%. And then we had preliminary general surgery with 41.5%. And then internal medicine, categorical positions with 38.9%. And so again, that's the ratio of IMGs. In terms of the pure number of IMGs in that specialty, we have internal medicine with 3,239, family medicine with 1,192, and pediatrics with 562. Well, you know, there's always more competitive specialties that IMGs have a harder time getting into. But, you know, I think the more important thing is to understand that some IMGs can get into those specialties. And you shouldn't count yourself out, especially if you have strong step scores and you're getting US clinical experience in those specialties. So we can help provide information about what those minimum requirements are. And if you feel that you're a competitive IMG applicant, I would say don't hold yourself back based on a belief about IMG friendly specialties, because if you are able to get into those, you can see that there are IMGs in even the top most competitive specialties.
I agree
Exactly.
with this.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think I 100% agree with this. I think a lot of people also have a fear of the prestigious programs, like any program that is like, oh, why is Cleveland Clinical is on my list? Why is this program is on my list? I am an IMG. I think that's a misconception, because you find IMGs in these programs, and therefore you should not be limiting yourself in any way. Always just go and submit, because you never know if any program is really waiting for this IMG that could be you, and you're missing an opportunity by not by having that fear. All right, so for example, we have Dr. Jessica is one of our ambassadors for Match Residents who use our service, and if she would have worried about neurology, which is not a really the easiest specialty to get into, and yet she was fearless when it came to the application process. She really applied to the specialty she wanted, and she was able to match to her number one choice. I believe it was a number one choice, right? So
that's very impressive. I also like to talk about one of the blog posts that we've seen. In 2019-2020, it says that there was a new record number of matched applicants, which you've mentioned in the beginning. How did that play out for IMGs?
Sure. So IMGs had the highest match rate since 1991. So good job, way to be. There were 3,154 US IMGs, and they had a match rate of 61.0%. And there were 4,222 non-US IMGs who had a match rate of 61.2%. And we could dive further into the specific specialties in terms of where you see more US IMGs versus non-US IMGs, but we have a lot of information like that available on our blog, so I definitely recommend going and checking that out there.
So an IMG, if they subscribe to Match Residents emailing list, they would be getting frequent updates about IMG related news published on matcharesident.com. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely. We try to create information that we send out to our registered members in terms of updates that are happening right now. And there are a lot of them, let us tell you, especially for this season. As everybody knows, there's a lot up in the air, a lot changing, a lot different than 2019, 2020. So we do try to make sure you're getting the most up-to-date news and information. You don't have to be a registered member necessarily to view the information on the blog. So just go check out our online resources, and I think you'll see that we've addressed, hundreds of the most common questions, and that, by registering, you're really partnering with an organization that knows what it's talking about, has been around for years, we're 16 years now, and really cares about the outcomes of our members. So, like I said, check out the online resources, and if you have more questions, and it's a common question, you'll probably see a new blog about it within weeks. So,
thank you for answering this question. Our next question is for Dr. Z. I noticed Rank Assist has been noticeably trending during this season. Please shed more light on why is this becoming a very popular feature and why more applicants should be using it.
Is that not all the applicants know about it? If they do know, then you'll see a lot less questions on forums asking, hey, I have a list of programs. Can you help me rank these programs? I don't know why would you go to a forum and ask people to rank a program for you. It just has to be some decision you need to make yourself, because you're the one who attended that interview. So we did get a lot of these questions about, hey, how can I rank the programs? And therefore, we as a team decided to come up with a a very smart algorithm. It's new. It's been running for 2 years, but it's picking a lot of pace lately. Actually, most of the interview feedbacks that you guys see on Match a Resident come from that survey that we ask. So the survey basically recollects the information or the experience from the candidates in terms of different aspects of the encounter in the interview, how they felt about the residents, how they felt about the director, did they feel welcome, do they feel that like they have a connection there, somebody to recommend them. So we added all these good questions in a questionnaire or in a survey, and the survey is built with an algorithm to calculate each question you answer and give it a score, and then you get an accumulative score of your entire encounter, and that gives you a good outlook. It's not really, we don't want you to go on and rank it based on what we see is highest, but I think the higher the number means you have a better experience with the program, and that's what the rank assist is. So as soon as you get exposed to it, you feel the benefit of it. And we saw it this year. I think Zafi, maybe I've seen a lot of people coming back to you, asking you about or telling you about how some of the candidates who have used it actually matched their #1 choice, and that's a great success for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And something else that we notice, especially when people are reaching out to us through support about ranking programs, is if you have 1 or 2 programs or 3, and they're all so close together in your mind and you don't really know how to differentiate them, this rank assist can really help pull out that pertinent information and help you organize it in a way that gives you a result of a score from 1 to 10. And so, you know, something might be a 9.7 and the other one might be a 9.1. And that just might make you feel that sense of clarity when you're submitting your rank order list. So that's really important. And something else you can do with the rank order list when it opens up starting in October is you can rank these programs or fill out that rank survey close to when you finished your interview. And the other big complaint that applicants have is, you know, they maybe had 15 interviews and they were several months ago, and all the programs are jumbled up in their mind now, so they can't even remember which is which. So we really recommend that you fill out that rank order list survey soon after you completed the interview, because your experience is fresh in your mind. You're not going to be biased by other interviews that you might have had, and you're going to avoid that last minute confusion and inability to remember what even happened. So that's another really helpful aspect of the rank assist, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, to clarify one thing about Zaki's mentioning October, he meant technically October in our system, the rank order, the rank assist system in our system, not the official rank order list, which opens in January, I believe, and I think it concludes or closes in February in every year. So I just wanted to clarify that, so people are not confusing the NRMP rank order list and the rank assist feature that Match a Resident have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for adding that point. My next question is, are there any features or best practices that you would recommend for members to follow during this new application season?
Sure. So we've already mentioned a lot of them. And, you know, the biggest one is get started early, get started right now. And we've mentioned some of the helpful features, the rank assist, and something that I don't think we've talked about necessarily is the compatibility score that we have with Match a Resident, which actually gives you another score metric to use in terms of your application targeting. So you can get a score from 0 to 100 for each program on your list, and that's based on a direct comparison between your applicant profile compared to the minimum requirements of the program. And then you see the score from 0 to 100, and you can actually arrange your list by just clicking on compatibility score at the top to have it ordered by compatibility score. So that's another really helpful way to organize your efforts. You can also use our bookmarking feature to save your favorite programs or the ones that you want to look into more. There's a notes section for each program. And we have an interview manager, which is also really helpful for just keeping track of all those interviews that you're going to get. So those are some of the main top features that I would say to be aware of. And then the last one is definitely the additional filters. So that helps you hide programs that you don't necessarily want to see. And that includes things like programs that require the CS or the ECFMG at the time of application, which is something that we mentioned earlier. Programs that require passing certain exams on the first attempt, or programs who accept IMG applications but don't have any IMGs in their program. So those are, things that can help you further narrow and refine and optimize your application targeting.
I think Zafi answered most of the question. I think, as you mentioned, one thing to pinpoint is compatibility score. And a lot of people maybe are not understanding the importance of this score that we have created for you. Because, having to generate a list like this and then go and refine it to the finest details is very important, because anyone can call programs and create a list and sort it out. But with Natural Resident, we look further into the details of the requirements, connecting it with the experiences, the rank assist. So every program in your list is there for a reason. And it is, truthfully, if you select the top compatible score, because not every candidate, as Zafi agrees, not every candidate can afford to apply to all the programs that is in the customized list. But if you go and look at the score and you go from the 100 down to just go downwards in the list and stop at the 100 if you want to apply to 100, this is the best 100 programs you are selecting to apply for. Well, I'm not going to say guaranteed, because nothing is guaranteed, but this is to how the system is built, an algorithm. These are the top 100 programs you would apply for if you choose to.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. My last question to you both is, are there any application prep advice you'd like to give?
Well, I think we've talked about the application targeting in terms of, your customized list with Match a Resident and how to use them and how to help you decide where to apply to. But, that's just one piece of the puzzle. There's so many different components that come together to make a strong residency candidate. And the other top ones, we've already talked about letters of recommendation a lot, but your MyAris application is extremely important. And we've actually launched a new service that's going to be in its third year called Residency Experts. It's residencyexperts.com, where we help edit, optimize, and craft your MyAris written sections. So that includes your work, research, and volunteer experiences, memberships and awards, personal statements, and we provide complimentary feedback and review for things like your letters of recommendation and even your photograph. And working closely with this service, I could go on and on about it, but what we noticed is that people give us content that is just nowhere close to being worthy or ready for a residency application. And it's just critical that you're actually submitting professional, perfected content. Because if a program sees a MyAris application that has spelling mistakes, capitalization is inconsistent, they have just unorganized thoughts, and it's not well thought out, you're going to go down in the list in terms
They're
of...
going to lose their opportunity of getting into the program that they like.
Exactly. So, working with residency experts can really help you optimize that area of your application. So that's something that I think everybody should know about and take advantage of. So.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing. Dr. Z, is there anything you'd like to add to the conversation?
As Zafi mentioned, the ERAS application is indeed an important component. The integration process, as Zaf agrees, it goes in between all documents. You're talking about the personal statement, have to agree with the application. Your recommendation letters have to agree with the experiences section. There's protocols. There's not like just type in a description or of the experience, especially when we talk about the experience section. And I think the blogs do go into details about how residency experts does that. So it's very well thought of system, and it's again when this was developed, it was based on program directors' protocols, right? That's what program directors want to see in the description. That's what program directors want to see in the hobbies section, which a lot of people, you know, as you agree, the hobbies sections get maybe demolished by candidates. They don't know how to use that section. So there's a lot of important components that people do not pay attention to. And as Jeff mentions, every part of it matters. This is your application for residency. It has to be very well put together.
Yeah, and just to conclude or summarize a lot of that is some candidates, especially people who have red flags or other things in their application like gaps in clinical experience, they don't feel fully confident in applying, so they don't give it their all. And that's just the biggest mistake you can make. If you're going to apply for residency, and especially if you have challenges in your application, you have to give it 100%. You have to do everything to its maximum potential, or else it's not going to work. Residency is competitive. It's hard to get positions. It's hard to get positions for IMGs who have been out of medical school for a long time or have multiple attempts on your steps, but it is possible. But you really have to put forth the effort and get the assistance from people who've been in this field for years to really help you make it happen. So, if you are going to go for it, you give it your all.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Zeph, as well as Dr. Z. I know we're going to have new videos talking about the application process in more depth. If you have any questions, please leave below to the comment box and send us an email if you'd like any specific video as an IMG, if you'd like to hear more information. Also follow our blogs. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Z and Zeph.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure talking, and I hope people have gotten some valuable information. And I definitely look forward to continuing to share throughout this season and those to come.
Yeah, thank you. I'm also looking forward to be part of this series with Sarah. So thank you for hosting us today. Just ask questions. It's very important that you ask, don't be shy. We will be here to help you throughout the season, and that's a promise. So thank you for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Match a resident.